set? Okay. We'll call the Wednesday, December 20th Town of Rome Board meeting to order. Roll call starting on my left.
Capel here.
Minter here.
Jamadi here.
Cole here.
Barrheit here.
Certify the posting of the meeting, please.
I certify that on Monday, December 18th, 2023, the agenda for the Town of Rome Board meeting for Wednesday, December 20th, 2023 was posted at the Rome Town Hall at 3:45 p.m., posted at Quick Trip LLC at 4:55 p.m., posted at Nakusa Port Edward State Bank at 4:40 p.m., emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune at 4:09 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Item number 4, we'll approve the agenda with the exception of item number 11. We received word that the two guests that would have come for the discussion this evening are both ill, and we'll put that on the January agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented with the exception of item 11.
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor Bauerheit, second by Supervisor Cole to approve the agenda with the exception of item 11. Any discussion?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, citizen comments. We did receive 2 cards this evening, so I'll read. Number 6. During the citizen comment period of the agenda, the town board welcomes comment from any town resident, not a member of the town board, on any item not on the agenda. Please know that pursuant to state law, the board cannot engage in conversation with you, but may ask questions. The board may refer the item to staff, a standing committee, or a future board agenda for discussion and action. Each person wishing to speak will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to submit a card to the clerk treasurer providing their name, address, and topic for discussion. The board will also take comment from the public on agenda items as called by the chair, but not during citizen comment. Please note that once the board begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. Excuse me. First card is from Glenn Janicki, 1476 Roma Woods Drive. Did you want to come up, please? His topic is days off for holidays when they are given. Probably scheduled? Okay.
Yeah, how they're scheduled. The highway department, we have people that work in different, or live and came from different places in town. On every calendar I've seen, Christmas Eve holiday is on Tuesday, that's where it's recognized, and then ours is on Friday. We're going back to Friday. Yet, with some of the guys that live, parents and that, or they're from Racine, Milwaukee, wherever they're from, now they're Christmas, and now they gotta cut their Christmas and to get back up so they can be at work on Tuesday. So I'd like the board or whoever's in charge or however this is done to consider stuff like this in the future, so people can get back and spend more time with their families. I guess that was it.
Okay. I have a question. We can ask questions on this. Do we know how these holidays are scheduled? They're usually done, are they done a year? I wasn't here when this was done. So were the schedules established for the holiday?
They were established before I got here, so I'm not sure.
Are they normally established before, usually at the beginning of the year? Like we just got the payroll calendar and the holiday calendar for this coming year, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
believe it was
So it was
done a year.
established last January, and we'll take that under consideration for coming years then,
Yes, that's all
understanding the concern.
That's all I kind of wanted. Thank you very much.
All right, and then we have a second card from Glenn Janicki, 1476 Roma Woods Drive. Clothing allowance for part-time workers, 1,280 hours and up. So that's, okay.
The highway department's here. We work with Ken. Ken's been here 13 years, and he works side by side with us on a constant basis. He's only 1 day away. We work 5 days, he works 4. He does the same thing we do constantly. He works with the mastic machine, he works cutting wood, he works with everything we do, he does. When he's on, with snow plowing or whatever, when the phone rings, he is here There's no doubt Ken's there. And I do appreciate the clothing allowance we get from the board and that, and I thank you very much for that. But with him working side by side for us, and I know he's not a full-time worker, we would like you to consider giving him a little bit of something for his time and to be working with us. He works with the mastic machine, chainsaws, you name it. He is right with us at all times.
Boots, pants, gloves.
Yeah, and then if it's wear gloves and stuff, it's kind of a safety equipment thing, and there's nothing there for him.
And the reason for not supplying him at this time, is that in our policy, or is it just simply because he's part-time?
It's simply because he's part-time, it's never.
So even though it's above the normal part-time hours, close to almost, okay.
Yes, he works enough hours where he is eligible for retirement from the same retirement we have and everything else. So the only thing, I don't know, he puts in a lot of hours. So he's just under the 1560 or whatever it is, but three-quarter time. We just like the board to consider the work he does and what he does for the town.
Okay. Any other questions from board members? We can ask questions, but
I want to make sure I heard correctly that we may have a safety issue.
The town supplies a couple pair of gloves, which that's about it, but when we're cutting wood and stuff in the wintertime, we've got a heavier glove for hauling brush, we haul it to the chippers, we're running saws, and heavier boots, and we're always pulling and stuff is tearing. There's no way around it, it's just part of our job, it's part of our daily.
And the heavier gloves are not supplies, we get summer gloves, but we don't get winter gloves. And, yeah, his boots get worn, torn, just like ours.
Full of mastic.
Is Ken the only, staff member in that position?
He's the only staff member that works that many hours, yes ma'am.
And what currently is the clothing allowance for a full-time person?
600, I think it is.
Currently, it's $350.
Yeah, currently it's
350?
$350.
but next year we budgeted more.
Okay.
I believe it was, didn't we bump it up to 600?
It's increased, I know, but I don't remember the
I think it
amount.
was doubled,
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
at least double, a minimum of, I think it was 600 or 650, okay.
Which we appreciate, but he's working right alongside of us continuously.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming this evening, and we'll take it under consideration and forward it on to the right people to discuss it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and thank you for all your hard work in Public Works. Can I get copies of those then, so we can respond? Thank you. Okay. No action contemplated except possible referral to future agendas. Number 7, informational updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. And I'll actually start tonight if you don't mind. We had our commissioner meeting last night, the quarterly meeting for LifeStar. And just to advise the board, all the commissioners did determine that we would move forward and have LifeStar, Mike Krieger, the owner, and Travis Pooler, who is our division chief, I guess you would call him, present at our next meeting in March to begin working on a contract renewal proposal. So that'll be coming up in March. And then also, I have been in additional contact with Senator Teston's office on a subject that we continue to talk about, and that's wakeboarding activity in the town. And so I did speak with Jim Emerson, who is Senator Teston's chief of staff, and he spoke directly with Senator Felskowski, who is the author of the Senate bill. She said that they did put the meeting on hold, but they are on hold for the remainder of the year. They're working with their opponents as well as the Assembly, and the co-author in the Assembly, who is in her district, she's in Tomahawk, he's in Rhinelander, are working diligently on this and expect it to come back next year. Amendments are likely to come forward, and if and when they do, they would move it forward with the expectation that it would pass in both houses. So they say that they will continue to work closely, keep us informed, and that, we should still, as we move forward, think about waiting until March because of the preemption, or is that the correct preemption? Or because anything that they would do could be stronger or less. It would impact anything we would do, and then that would unfortunately then confuse our constituency and possibly upset them further. So it seems like it would behoove us to wait and see what they do, because they do anticipate taking this up again after the first of the year. So I wanted to give an update on that as well. So if anybody has anything to add on that subject or been in touch with anybody, otherwise Supervisor Capel, if you want to go.
I just want to wish everybody a very merry and safe Christmas and Happy New Year.
Nothing to add beyond his comment.
I'll wish everybody a very merry and joyous, blessed, Happy New Year and Christmas.
As always, I want to remind people, if you want information about the town, you should go to the town's website or contact the town directly. The website is romewi.com. And if you want to know about events or anything tourism related in the town, go to visit romewi.com and use the social media platforms for other types of information, but don't use it as your factual information about the town. And other than that, also wish you all a Merry Christmas, and you will not see my smiling face again until March, because I will be gone, and I will join the meetings remote. So I will see you maybe on the screen or just on a record, I don't know, on a microphone, so
Just
anyway.
set up.
Yes, from Tri-Lakes, as you probably remember, we concluded our trial at Arrowhead Marina, where we employed nanobubble technology, and we got our last sonar report complete after we concluded our trial, and a couple interesting things about it. Number one, not only did it clear up the clarity of the water, but it increased the lake depth by 11 inches. And you might ask, well, how is that possible? Especially in a time when we're in drought and probably the lake even dropped a little bit during that period. What happened was the lake bottom, the muck on the bottom of the lake was digested by the nanobubble technology and hardened. And this was also borne out when we went to take a core sample in the same spot where we had taken it in the spring. And that core sample was very, very hard to take because of the hardness at the bottom. Eventually, we were able to take the 8-inch core sample and send it off for lab analysis. So that's just a lot of good news as far as nanobubble technology goes. We are working with Moliere to develop several different options that we will present in the spring here, maybe early, even in the winter here, for our membership to consider.
Was that
And I
11-inch drop just in the harbor area, or was it the entire lake?
Well, we didn't survey the entire lake like we did the harbor area because we wanted to make sure we knew what was going on
So
just
I'm
in that
presuming
small
it was
2-acre
mainly in
area.
the harbor area.
Yes.
And I did have one more thing to add on the exciting part of this. It was in the City Times, but it was actually announced on December 12th, last week, that the Sand Valley Resort will host 4 USGA Amateurs Championships, beginning with the US Mid Amateur in 2026, then again in 2029 with the US Junior Amateur, 2030 with the US Women's Mid Amateur, and then again in 2034 with the US Girls Junior Amateur Championship. So it's pretty excited to begin that commitment. The USGA is excited to begin that commitment, and that's right here in our town. So that's going to be a pretty exciting draw for us, and for tourism and income for our small business owners in the area. So exciting news. It was in the City Times. So anything else from anybody? Okay. Jason, did you have any announcements? Nick? Anything? Okay, then we'll move on. Thank you. Item number 8, department and committee reports. Any comments or questions about the reports? I did already give you an update on LifeStar. Things are looking good there. Everybody was pleased with the response times. There was a question that did come up, if anybody's interested, that did come up about joining with the other district, but not at this time, so, but more discussions will be taking place in March, so.
I just wanna thank each of the department heads because these reports are really, I can see that they take time to put this together to show everybody what they're doing. So if you sometimes wonder what are people doing in the various departments, you can go in the packets each meeting or, and take a look at these reports and it'll give you a nice feed out of what's happening in town.
Very good. And also, I did want to make a comment on behalf of Building and Zoning. They've been working on the reports. They'll be doubling up next month. The report that normally comes out of there is just a little bit antiquated, and the numbers they were putting in was kind of mixing up their charts a little, so they're both figuring out a different way of presenting that information to us in the future. So they'll double up next month, but I ditto what Supervisor Cole said. I really like the reports this month and thank all of our department heads for their efforts. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, moving on. Discussion and possible action on the following items. Approval of the December 7th, 2023 meeting minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Cole, a second by Supervisor Bauerheit to approve the meeting minutes of December 7th, 2023. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries. Approve the checks number 45893 through 45973 totaling $792,187.63. Auto payments totaling $208,577.96. State Social Security Medicare withholdings totaling $53,926.18. Payroll vouchers V21279 through V21461 totaling $150,619.54. And check 21665 totaling $607.54. Receipts number 25150 through 25208 totaling $558,546.86.
Move to approve the checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Capel, to approve the checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries as presented. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Supervisor Capel.
I was comparing last month's end report of total expenses to this month's, and last month we were at 83.63% of our budget, which is right on target. At the end of this month, we're at 95.6%, which is 4% more than we should be at this time of year. So I'm gonna ask that somebody look into that and get back to us, make sure we're still on track to meet budget.
Okay. That's good. All right, moving on. Item 12, discussion and possible action, approval.
Did we take a vote on that?
Oh, I thought we
Yeah.
did.
Discussion.
Did-
We have a motion
Oh,
by
I'm
Minter, second
sorry.
by
You're
Capel.
correct. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, discussion and possible action, approval of revisions to the fire chief job description.
I'll move approval as written.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Supervisor Capel, second by Supervisor Bauerheit to approve the revisions to the fire chief job description. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, discussion and possible action, personal time carryover policy.
You'll see in the packet, there's, the yellow highlight is what we would propose to add there right now. Those days are forfeited, so if somebody gets hired in late November, they're still being trained and they gotta use the personal days or they lose them, so this would allow them to carry them over just like you can vacation, subject to that cap. So in the PD, they can carry 80 hours. If they carried personal time, it'd be subject to that cap and the general employees, there's a different cap number, but those carryover days would be subject to that cap that's in policy elsewhere.
I move to approve the proposal to carry over the personal time, same as vacation.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Bauerheit, a second by Supervisor Minter to approve the changes to the personal time carryover policy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, approve sale of Rome Fire Department property 2020 turnout gear, pants and jacket to the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department for a purchase price of $1,700.
This one has a memo in the packet. Chief Kane said that gear won't fit anyone else, so at least we can recover the prorated portion of our funds that it was purchased for. We do this in the PD with the bulletproof vests the same way. If somebody gets hired by another department, we prorate them because they're fitted to the person.
So I move to approve the sale of the turnout gear to Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Supervisor Bauerheit, a second by Supervisor Cole to approve the sale of the Rome Fire Department property 2020 turnout gear to the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department for a purchase price of $1,700. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Discussion and possible action. Approval of agent change to Morgan Firk for Lake Sherwood Lodge located at 1146 West Queens Way.
She's unable to be here tonight, due to an fighting section. So.
Okay. It looks like it was approved by the chief, too. Did these have to be approved by the chief still?
Correct, I'd recommend approval.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. All right.
Move to approve the change of agent to Morgan Firk for the Lake Sherwood Lodge.
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Capel to approve the agent change to Morgan Firk for Lake Sherwood Lodge located at 1146 West Queens Way. Any discussion?
So I know Chief said he approved it, but isn't there usually a form that there was a, criminal background check done?
No, you're thinking of a bartender's license. This is an agent change,
Oh, just the agent's
so it has
license.
nothing to
You
do
don't
with
need
that.
They
It's not
did
required
it,
for
but the form looks different because this
Okay.
is actually through Department of Revenue for this particular form.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Good question. Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. The board may go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Stat Section 19.85 Sub 1 Sub C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The clerk treasurer training.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'll move that we go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes, section 19.85 1C, to consider clerk treasurer training.
Second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Capel, a second by Supervisor Cole to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Stat Section 19.85 Sub 1 Sub C, considering the clerk treasurer training. Roll call starting on my left, please.
Capel, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Oh, yes.
All right, yes.
Sure.
closed session.
Move to return to open session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 195.85 sub 1 sub C.
No.
Oops, sub
Two.
1, excuse me.
Sub two.
Reading the wrong line.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Bauerheit to come out of closed session as authorized and enter into open session as authorized by Wisconsin Stat Section 19.85(2) to possibly take action from the closed session and continue with the agenda. Roll call starting on my left, please.
Capel, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Cole, yes.
Bauerheit, yes.
Okay. Discussion and possible action approving retaining a trainer and the cost to complete training with the clerk treasurer.
Move to approve the agreement for a trainer for the clerk treasurer position as presented for a fee of $50 per hour, capped at 200 hours, subject to all the attachments of the independent contractor agreement.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Capel to approve retaining a trainer and the cost to complete the training with the clerk treasurer as specified in the document. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Dates and items for future agenda and meetings. Next agenda items, we have a number of them listed here, including the Bird City resolution, that'll come up in January. We also have Sam Schultz, we still have him coming forward with some ideas for land use and development as our advisor in the Rome Town Center. We'll also have approval of the recommendation from the Plan Commission for amendment to the Mid-Wisconsin Dunes LLC, also known as Sand Valley Resort. Any other items?
I'd like
Sure, we'll
to,
Blend,
bring back,
and the
sorry.
Visit Rome the Visit Rome agreement, I'm sorry, from item 11, Visit Rome agreement renewal and extension request. And anybody that has any questions or comments on the presentation that you were sent and the agreement that we currently have with them, if you can get those to us so we can forward those on directly to Lisa.
Okay.
All right, we'll forward them on directly to Lisa through either Jason or.
And I will work with Lisa too to see if we can't bring to the board an extension contract.
And there was quite a number of questions and things. I think that's why we had it as discussion only, is to see what the plans are actually for the future, because that is a pretty substantial extension. I believe there was
Could I get
discussion.
a copy of the bylaws that Visit Rome has?
The Visit Rome bylaws?
Yeah.
I guess you have those, don't you?
Sure.
And also a vision statement. I was able to capture the mission statement off of the website, but I couldn't find the vision statement. And it's referenced in the material that they gave us, so.
I guess I would be looking too for just some understanding of, she had mentioned in that presentation about a building, more staff. And so, what is the vision for tourism, promotion, development? So a discussion on those, but we can bring our questions forward when she comes and makes a presentation at our meeting. So
I would just ask that any questions that you have would be offered to Visit Rome to Lisa in advance and
Yep.
not at the time she's arrives here. So
Well,
she has
I'm
time
sure
to
some will
prepare.
come up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
that's what
some
I
will
just
come up in
said too.
discussion, I understand, but if you have specific questions and want her to bring specific things, that those be requested in advance in writing.
I have a couple more, but I'll
So-
put them in writing and send
Because
it to her.
I don't want a situation where there's a person at the microphone being asked questions, feeling unprepared and,
Oh, I don't think
So-
we'd put her under, I don't think we'd do
Anyway.
that to her. No, but
Never know.
and then I have are we
And
done
I don't
with
know,
that
did we
topic?
agree as a board? I mean, I think we want them to come forward to us, or is that agreeable with
Well,
the
I thought
board?
we
Or
were
do we
having a
just wanna
discussion.
yeah, we're having a discussion, we want Lisa to, okay, so we'll get our questions to Lisa and, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm sorry, you,
I'd like to bring back, the possible revisit the snowplow policy that we approved at the last meeting, where we're going to plow the,
Add the school routes?
school routes.
I'm glad you brought that back. Brad was gonna get something checked through the clerk's list and, check into that for us? Did we get any response on that?
One,
In
and
that
it was
case,
nothing.
Madam Chair, I have another request
Well,
that,
can we just wait a minute?
That's it, put it out there.
But as long as we're gonna have that, that's good that we're bringing that back, since we're all in the prevailing, we didn't really take a vote that night, but it's really more of a procedure than a policy for clarification. But I also wanna talk about, I've had 2 calls again, too, on the 3-inch rules, and people wanna know if we're gonna commit to that or not, so, yes.
I would like Brad to present the numbers that he has for the difference between a main plowing and a full town plowing, since he said mine were so off.
Okay,
I'd like to know the job description of the person, their wage, the hours that it takes.
so overall cost of what it is to do just the
Cost,
mains
but I
versus.
want it broken down by the job the job title of the person, their wage, and the average hours that it takes to work. That's how he had it broken out in his sheet.
Okay,
And I think just in my retrospect of that possible decision, I think there's more to it than the cost of it. I think other things could be brought up, whereas someone's road is plowed who's on a school bus route and the neighboring
Road
street
is
is not, or trail or whatever it is, and I think it'd be too confusing, and I think it would be good to know if this is done anywhere else. I think he's indicated it's not, but I can't speak for Brad, but I just think it might cause more issues than it would help.
There was one response from a township that does that.
Okay.
That was the only one I got.
oh, they did do it
So
for the
just
bus
to
route?
revisit it and
No,
see if
that's
it's
fine.
the
I think that's
best
good.
policy, or if there's some other way to address the issues people have with snow removal.
I think that's a good idea, thank you. And that's what made me think of it too, is when I spoke to him about it with the whole school map thing, cause I saw him working with the map, and I said, well, maybe the 3-inch policy that people keep bringing up might not be such a bad idea to go back to when we get a certain amount of snow in a certain part of town, that, okay, 3 inches here, whole town, so the costs come in play into that as well, so that'll be a good discussion to have again, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, Madam Chairman?
Yeah.
I would like to see on the next agenda that we put on the decision to hire a full-time town administrator.
Comments and discussion on that?
I agree with that. I think
Okay.
we've kind of left that unsaid for a while, and it needs to be discussed because time will pass, and Jason is going to become very busy when summer comes and no longer able to do this job, and I think I don't want to speak for you, I think you'd probably like to know how long this term is.
I'll discuss it.
Okay.
This isn't so much an agenda item, but just something for us to contemplate between now and the next meeting. If it would be possible, the January 16th meeting, to hold it on January 15th. If it's on the 16th, I won't be able to be here. I have to be out of town for a school meeting. And I will not make it back in time for our meeting here. So instead of Thursday the 16th, if it could go on Wednesday the 15th. We don't,
Thursday's the 18th.
what? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, Wednesday's the 18th, you're correct. Instead of Thursday the 18th, make it Wednesday the 17th.
Okay.
So do the Wednesday instead of the Thursday that week, if possible. I would appreciate it.
I'll have to double check, cause now that date sounds familiar, now that you said the.
And if it's not possible, it's not possible.
I think there's a
And then I have one, we left off this time because we weren't sure how long this would be. Fire District, Supervisor Capel brought that up, and there's been expressed interest in that as well. So we'll start a discussion on that. Any other items? There's also the, personnel handbook, so there's some updates with personnel as well as some matters that need to be updated with that. So we may have Mark, if we have time, have him present on that, cause he owes us a presentation on that yet. So, and I did send you all some information from them that they had a webinar recently, so I would encourage you to listen to that. I strongly encourage you to listen to it. Talks, very, in-depth about culture, very in-depth about culture, so. All right, any other items?
No, just want to thank Amy Reutemann for coming back, and obviously she's coming back on a contract and going to be paid to help with the training, but I think that's nice of you to do that and appreciate it, and I think Melissa will benefit and the entire town will benefit from that, so thank you for that.
Okay. Next meeting date and time is January 4th at 5 p.m. And we'll be down to 4 board members at that point, so nobody
Just
gets
on
sick.
that date, after that date, I can participate remote.
Nobody gets sick, nobody leave town. Alrighty. Meeting adjourned.